the reaction between a bromoalkane, R is the carbon chain. So there's a bromoalkane, it's being hydrolyzed by NaOH. ये वो nucleophilic substitution है, ठीक है? So the Br is replaced. ठीक है? अगर नहीं याद organic, forget it. ठीक है? Let's say this is the reaction. ठीक है? There are two reactants, this one and this one. Bromoalkane and OH minus one. What type of reaction is this? This is nucleophilic substitution. ठीक है? Skip to the rate part. Osega, the concentration of bromoalkane was determined at regular time intervals as the reaction progressed. Um, so he's following the concentration of bromoalkane. So you can see that कि bromoalkane की जो maximum concentration he used in the experiment was 0.01 mole per dm cube. वो जो दूसरा OH ions है ना, that's 0.1 mole per dm cube. तो that's in large excess. OH ions की जो quantity है ना, that's 10 times. मतलब ये कितना है? Maximum 0.01. फिर ऐसा ऐसा it starts decreasing as the reaction proceeds. जैसे वो time I mean the time gets used up. So slowly the time, so the concentration decreases. So from a maximum of 0.01, NOH to use Kiana, that's 10 times more. So that's in large excess. Large excess, I told you that when something is in large excess, so its concentration is considered to be constant throughout the reaction because it's 10 times in excess. So uska matlab, if a tiny amount gets used up, the quantity pretty much remains almost unchanged, or there's going to be negligible change in this value. तो अच्छा, ये उससे ग्राफ बनाया हुआ है. By looking at the graph, can you tell me what order this is? इसका half life क्या है? Like 0.1, right? So 5. I remember, draw the lines. ठीक है, obviously with a ruler, तो मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ पे कहीं आ रहा है. So क्या value? That's 117, I guess. ठीक है. फिर what's the second half life? अच्छा, second is यहाँ पे. What is that? That's like, तो बस इसको कर लेते हैं. This is 115, and that's like that's exactly 230. The constant half-life है, ठीक है? The first half-life is 115. The second half-life is also, it's also taking the same time. So constant half-life, what is the order if it's a constant half-life?
One, sir.
ठीक है, that's order one. Constant half-life is order one. अगर time double होता, that would be order two. अच्छा, then he says that he repeats the experiment. ये वाला experiment जो था ना, that was done at 0.1 mole per dm cube concentration of NaOH, and now he repeats it where he uses the same experiment, but this time he uses NaOH, which has 1.5 times higher concentration, 0.15 mole per dm cube, and he gets this result. So I'm going to plot. Actually, I'm going to plot these results on this. उसने plot these data on the axis and draw a line of best fit. ठीक है, so we're going to do that. So 0 पे it's 0.0. So the starting point is the same. 0 पे point it's 0.010. 40 पे it's किधर है 40? तो 40 पे it's 0.07, this one. अच्छा, फिर 80 पे it's 0.049. 80 would be over here, 0.0. 49 would be like very close to or almost equal to 5. अच्छा, फिर 120 पे it's 0.034. 120 is over here, 0.034 is approximately 35. अच्छा, फिर 160 पे it's 24. 160 is here. 2. तो बस वो approximately 25 है और फिर इसी तरह it's 200 पे it's 17 where would I put 17 would be here I guess. So anyway, so you got a line. उसको so you've got अच्छा we've got a और उसने a line of best fit ठीक है. Remember it doesn't look to be a straight line so it has to be अच्छा it's probably a curve. ऐसे बन गई sketch होगी ठीक है if you can see this on your screen. So so the first graph ठीक है the first one your first वाला था ना ऊपर that is where NaOH concentration was what 0.1 mole per dm cube. और जो second line है the second one ठीक है this one that's जो आगे चल रही है ठीक है that one is where NaOH concentration was what 0.15 mole per dm. So he didn't the only thing he did in the two experiments was that उसने ना he increased the concentration of NaOH 2.15 mole per dm cube. तो obviously reaction तेज हो गया so the curve is much steeper right. तो अच्छा now इन दोनों experiments के comparison में ना RBR is no longer RBR is constant now ठीक है RBR is not the issue. He's changing NaOH so the reaction speeds up right. So basically the second graph is there so that you can figure out the order with respect to NaOH. So now if you want to figure out the order with respect to NaOH, RBR का तो पता लग गया था by just looking at the half-life, like how RBR is decreasing, you were able to figure out the order with respect to RBR. मतलब ये बात clear है?
Yes.
अच्छा, so in the next part, he says use one of the graphs to confirm that the reaction वो तो हो गया था. Use the graph to calculate the order of the reaction with the NaOH, show all your workings. So how would you do it with NaOH? For NaOH, you would have to figure out the rate of the reaction. कि पहले क्या rate था and what is the rate when NaOH concentration was increased. Now to figure out the rate, you would have to draw the gradient. And remember, you always compare the initial rate. You have to draw the gradient right at the beginning. So start के अंदर ना I'm going to sketch अब पता नहीं फ्री हैंड से ना बनता है कि नहीं बनता तो I guess गलत ही लग रहा है वैसे लेकिन so that's it. So right at the beginning over here that's my gradient for the first one and for the second one the gradient is वो कुछ इस तरह ठीक है so my two gradients ये वाला थोड़ा सा मेरे ख्याल से इधर होना चाहिए था इसको थोड़ा सा मैं even इस तरह हाँ अच्छा anyway so my two gradients of the two lines I've drawn let's calculate the gradient for this one. What is the gradient? It's y जो है that's 0.01 or x-axis के way is it cutting? It's I think that's approximately 175 minutes. ठीक है तो x2 minus x1 that's मैंने triangle पूरा है ठीक है so that's this one और इसका क्या होगा? It's going to be y2 the y-axis is 0.01 और नीचे जो bottom है that's मैं इसको भी थोड़ा सा 118 कर लेते हैं ये दोनों की वैल्यूज मुझे बताओ कि what are the two values?
So the one on the left is 8.47 times 10 power negative 5.
And the one that's on the right.
5.71 times 10 power negative 5.
अच्छा 10 पर -5 ठीक है, so ये रेट है, ठीक है, रिमेम्बर दिस, ग्रेडियंट इज द रेट, राइट? तो ये इधर था, ये इधर था, तो by what factor did the rate increase? इसको इससे डिवाइड करो तो what do you get? I mean, initially the reaction was slow, then it became faster. So by what factor did it change?
वन पॉइंट फोर एट
So approximately 1.5 times, ठीक है, approximately rate increased 1.5 times, right? इसको इससे डिवाइड किया तो we found out कि भाई the factor by which the rate is changing, that's 1.5 times. तो NaOH की concentration कितने times increase की थी? That was exactly 1.5 times as well. तो इसका मतलब है कौन सा ऑर्डर है कि NaOH की concentration you increase it 1.5 times, rate increased 1.5 times. तो क्या हो गया? So the order with respect to NaOH is 1.5 times. Is 1. Is that clear? Directly proportional है ना?
यस
तो ये क्लियर है सारों को? तस्नीम, साले, is this clear? साथ क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. So remember this in this question, जो पहला part था ना RBR का, because he had sketched the whole, I mean how RBR changes throughout the reaction, so you could figure out the half-life and you can figure out the order with respect to RBR. For NaOH, he did a second experiment in which उसने उसकी concentration थोड़ी सी he had increased it. So you were able, and he asked you to plot or sketch the second graph. So now you had two green, I mean, you could calculate two rates, ठीक है? पहला वाला rate था, and always remember initial rates are measured. 10 minute बाद you don't compare rates, ठीक है? You always compare the initial rate right at the beginning. So you drew a gradient, you drew a second gradient for the second one, and it came out to be कि भाई वो the difference is exactly 1.5 times. So which was directly proportional, which was order 1. तो यहाँ पे वही करोगे, it's going to be order 1. और बाकी वही है कि calculate the value for the rate constant. So with respect to both, I think the order is 1. वो RBR के respect से भी it's order 1, and OH के respect से भी, NaOH के respect से भी it's also order 1. So you can now what you can do is you can plug in the data for one experiment and find the value of K. क्योंकि rate तो आपने निकाल लिया ना, you just calculated rate, right? So for example, your rate was coming out to be 5.751 into 10 to the minus 5, right? तो इस वाले ग्राफ का जो और initial, right? So RBR concentration initially is what? 0.01. NaOH concentration is 0.10. तो इन दोनों को जो initial concentrations है and the initial rate you calculate, plug it in and you will find the value of K. तो K निकल आएगा, ठीक है?